Coming in Facebook, coming in YouTube. We're going live here with Jimmy Rants here in just a moment. Wanted to come on here a little bit early before we get started over on Instagram. And I have an interesting topic for you guys here today. So come on in, make yourselves at home. We're about to start my show, Jimmy Rants. Hello, Norma. Thank you for being here. Hello, David. Thanks for being here as well. Getting ready to start Jimmy Rants as always. Several of you were checking up on me today. I missed you this morning. Yeah, Norma saying that exact thing. Hello, Luann. Hello, Mary. Some days I just feel like, you know what, I can take a break. I need to take a break. And if I have to do that, you guys understand. So, hello, Kira. Thank you for being here too. Hello to my YouTube fans. Thank you guys for popping in on this YouTube live. Yeah, I woke up this morning and I was like, hey, you know, some days you wake up and you kind of go, okay, I don't really feel like it today. And what you guys don't realize is when I come on camera, I like to be full of energy. I like to be full of positivity. I like to give you my very best. And so some days I will wake up and I'll go, yeah, I can't do it today. And, you know, I can kind of fake it-ish sometimes, but I don't want to ever come on camera fake. I do call myself the man of real now. So no way the man of real needs to fake anything. So I try not to fake. When I'm on here, you get 100% authentic Jimmy Moore. And I like to keep it that way. Hello, Beth. Hello, Nancy. Hello, Hank. Louise, I hope you're doing well. Yes, I am doing well. Hello, Robin. Hello, Mitzi. So we're getting ready to start my show, Jimmy Rants. I've got an interesting topic. I got a whole nother Jimmy Rants all ready to go, all about the food and soft drink industry having so many ties to the dietary guidelines. I will do this one probably tomorrow. But today I wanted to touch on one that's really pretty much been on my heart, and a lot of things going on with this subject. So it's just going to be full on raw Jimmy Rants today. So I hope you enjoy that. Hello, Robin. Hello, Henry. Thank you guys for being here. Hello, Joe. All right. And thank you again to my YouTube live subscribers as well. Thanks for coming in here. Engage in the show, you guys. Feel free here on Facebook Live to share it with your fans. You can also share it on any page that you're a part of. So rock it on. I took a little bit of a nap this afternoon. So I laid down for right at about an hour or so. So my voice sounds a lot deeper than normal. But it is what it is. Hello, Pam. All right, we're going to get started over on Jimmy Rants. Not sure how long this one's going to go because I have a lot to say about this topic I'm going to talk about here today. Hello, Chris. All right, let's get this show on the road, and here we go. Come on in, you guys. We got a brand new episode of Jimmy Rants in store for you here today. JimmyRants.com is the website. And if you want to engage live in the content, please go follow me. I'm over on Instagram. If you'll follow at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, engage live, just like Kelly and Brittany and Pedals 2500, Jat Mom. There's so many people coming in so fast. Thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. We also simulcast live over on my Facebook page, so thank you guys for being here, as well as YouTube live. If you watch my videos on replay on YouTube, you can now watch them live. We've been doing this for about 5 or 6 days now, doing YouTube live simulcast as well. So thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live here on Instagram, they do keep it up for 24 hours. After 24 hours, they throw it out the window, and you have to pop on over to JimmyRants.com. That's where we house all the past episodes, as well as YouTube. We put the past episodes there. Just type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants, you'll find the show. The show goes Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. We throw in a 5 p.m. Eastern every once in a while, and then sometimes on the weekend. Well, a lot of you guys didn't see me this morning at 11 a.m., and several of you reached out. Are you okay? There's no Jimmy Rants. Where's the Jimmy Rants? 11 a.m. And it's like, oh, okay. I've kind of conditioned you to expect one every day. And I just needed to take this morning off. And I think most of you respect that. I think sometimes when you're used to something and then it's not there, it makes you miss it. And I get that. But one thing I learned when I was gone during my sabbatical is, hey, if I need to take time off, I'm just going to do it. And I've even, when I first came back, I was even talking about some days I may not work at all. And that's okay. Knowing the boundaries and seeing kind of how I feel when I woke up this morning. This show takes a lot of mental and physical energy because I like to stay positive on camera. I like to give you guys my 100%, my very best. And if I can't do that, then I don't come on camera. I could sort of kind of fake it, but most of you would probably see through that. So I would never do that. But I got to tell you, I had planned on doing a particular Jimmy Rants, and I'll probably do this one all about the food and soft drink industry having way too many ties with the U.S. dietary guidelines. That's coming up soon. But today, this topic I have here pinned across all of the boards here, it's bugging the crap out of me. Like, I am really, really concerned about how people are stressing about COVID-19 and the ugliness that has happened. Now, let's be honest. The internet was ugly long before COVID-19, right? People got stressed long before this came along. People had issues. Issues is a nice way of putting it. People were mean. Let's just be honest about it. People were mean. People were hateful. People said disgusting, vile things. And especially here in 2020, it's a presidential election year. People being very tribal and very ugly all around. But have you guys noticed how just it's been stepped up to a whole new level? Like, people that you wouldn't even think about saying certain things, being a certain way, reacting online. It's almost like it's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing going on. Like, am I the only one noticing this? It feels to me like some of the people I've long loved and adored have lost their cotton picking minds. And of course, I told you guys the other day about this keto doctor that sent me an email on Friday chastising me because of my coverage of the COVID-19 stuff and claiming that I had said that it wasn't real. And this is a fake disease. It's not a disease. It's not real. Now, I've never once said that. And so when I inquired about it, he was like, well, I heard from a colleague who said you said that, and then I looked it up and you said that. Okay, show me the evidence. And guys, it's been 5 days. I have still not heard back from this doctor. This very well-known keto doctor has still not told me what I did wrong. And I'm just thinking, okay, like, are we going to come out the other side of this experience and scratching our heads going, who in the heck do we trust now? Like, are you finding there's kind of these lines being drawn amongst the relationships in your life, the friendships and just even the interpersonal relationships online? Are you finding that there's certain people that when this is all over, you're going to be like, yeah, I don't think I want them in my life anymore? Like, I'm going to be honest with you. There's certain people that I thought were friends. There were certain people that I thought were a certain way, and they've let me down bad. Now, I get it. We all have stress right now, and that's the thing about all of this. We are all stressed because of COVID-19. Let's stop pretending like one segment is stressed and another is not stressed. No, we're all stressed. It's the degree to which we're handling that stress. And a lot of people's stress over COVID-19 is exposing a very clear issue at hand that is very relevant because it's happening in our culture. And that's the fact that a lot of people have chronic anger issues, chronic psychological issues, and emotional things. We got to get our shiz together to figure out how to handle talking to each other in times of trouble. Like, I have just been perplexed by certain behavior of people. You know, and when you try to talk to them, oh, you're just, you're not understanding. I'm trying to educate. You're not understanding. I'm putting out good information. And okay. But it's coming across as very shrill. And I have one very good friend here on Instagram, and I've been watching this person and some of the things that's being said about COVID-19 and the conspiracy theories that's being made, and just the constant information that looks, I mean, if you're an outsider and you don't know this person well, they look like a total whack job. Like total wackadoodle, oh my God, what are they doing whack job. And again, you probably have noticed this in a lot of your friends. They're posting things. And of course, this was already going to be a weird year. Let's be honest. Like nobody looks forward to being online in a presidential election year. Nobody. Because the ugliness is bad. I remember back in 2008 when it was John McCain and Barack Obama, there were people that got divorces over that election. There were people who, longtime friends, just decided to stop talking to each other. And it's just gotten worse each time. And now this COVID-19 pandemic comes along and all the stuff that's going on with it, with the fears and with the people on lockdown and the people not liking these things and misinformation here and just depressed there. It just seems like we have this culmination of so many thoughts, so many emotions, so many things. And to me, as someone who tries to stay pretty chill most of the time, and someone who tries to look at things reasonably, pragmatically, kind of think things through, like this is really trying a lot of those tendencies within me. Because I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I always want to see the best in people. And I always want to assume that people see the best in me and situations do not overwhelm. But let's be honest, a lot of people totally overwhelmed right now. Like unlike any time in their whole lives, they feel so overwhelmed. Like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. And a lot of people aren't watching me right now on Jimmy Rants because they have a deleted social media. Those people, I have mad respect if they know social media is a trigger for them and they know that it's going to make them feel a certain way and they're self-aware enough to know I can't handle that. They delete Instagram, they delete YouTube, they delete Facebook, they delete all social media right off of their phone, at least until they feel like they can come back. You guys know people that have done that? I have. I know a lot of people that have done that. And maybe those of you in this space that make content, have you noticed your following has either not grown or has actually decreased? Again, this is a product of the people trying to avoid that negativity because it's rampant right now. If you joined us late, I'm in full-on raw rant mode because I sense something happening out there ever since this COVID-19 thing came around, with the fears over the virus itself, with the quarantine, with the people getting frustrated, with the stress. I mean, it's just getting to a lot of people. And I'm positing a theory that this is exposing chronic anger that's really been in our culture all along. It's just taken it to a whole new level. Now, maybe it's just because I'm a content provider and I see it more. You know, a lot of you guys probably just living your lives and you come on casually to social media and you don't see it near to the degree that someone like myself would because I'm constantly looking at it. Constantly here on Jimmy Rants on Instagram Live, on Facebook, on YouTube, I'm constantly seeing all the comments. And it just seems to be cray, 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 cray. And why? Like, why now? What is it about this situation that would bring out those kind of feelings? And of course, it also begs the question, is this how these people really feel? Because I think how you act under pressure, yeah, we do stupid stuff when we're under pressure sometimes. A lot of us have. But I wonder, is that how you really feel? Like people put on a face a lot? People pretend like they're okay when deep down inside they're not okay. And here's the biggest thing I've seen since this COVID-19 went down and the ugliness started getting really bad. People are projecting their anger about other issues onto other people. I think that's what happened with this keto doctor the other day. Because not only did he point out, well, you're sharing misinformation with your followers and you're telling people COVID-19 is not a disease, even though I never did. Then he used that as an opportunity of stay in your lane. You know better. You should be ashamed of yourself, like I'm his kid or something. Um, and I'm going, really? Like, who are you mad at? Like, it ain't Jimmy Moore, but he was mad at somebody. And so you kind of get this erratic behavior. I really want to see if you guys agree with me. Have you seen this going on? I want to kind of read what your perspective is about this. Have you seen people losing their minds and acting really, really crazy? Because for me, I've seen and observed for a very long time, 15 years I've been online in this space of health. I've been online much longer than that, since 94, I believe was the first time I got online, 3, 4, something like that, when I started taking HTML classes in grad school. And I was online then. It was very minimal then. It didn't really start some of the negativity until YouTube kind of got popular, and then people commenting on videos, and that was a precursor to what would become like MySpace and forums, and then Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram and Twitter. Oh my gosh. You want to see the depravity of humanity, go to Twitter and you'll see all the depravity of humanity. Any extremist view you're looking for confirmation exists out there, just go to Twitter. You'll find it. I promise you. Just go on a little feed and just start scrolling. You will see some of the ugliest stuff. But I will tell you, a lot of ideas for Jimmy Rants do come from Twitter. I'll be scrolling. I'll be, oh wow, like I've been finding a lot of cute little videos. I posted one on Instagram stories yesterday about Meghan Trainor popping into this slumber party with a bunch of young girls to try to just surprise them. And it was a really cute little video where she sang all about that bass with a ukulele. It was really, really cute. And I found another one about this little girl in quarantine who wrote a song about, I wonder what's inside your butthole. And those are the kind of funny things you only find on Twitter. So if you can get through the muckety muck, you can get to those kinds of things. But it's ugly out there. Like really, really ugly. And I want to see what you guys are noticing. I definitely feel like this is a trend, unfortunately, that won't go away anytime soon. And I hope it's not a trend that sticks around long after life gets back to normal. All right, so we're going to come to Instagram first, then we'll pop over to Facebook and then YouTube. And yeah, I want to see what you guys have to say. Please give me lots of feedback because I want to see what you have to say about this. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, pop on over there when we are done if you missed any of the past episodes. And there you go. No Sugar Bish says, yes, we are. I mean, it is out there. We are seeing so many people just be ugly. And to what end? I mean, to me, it goes back to what I was saying about Bob Briggs the other day. So Bob Briggs is Butter Makes Your Pants Fall Off, Butter Bob. And he went away because of the ugliness and the bitterness and the tribalism and all the everything. And of course, that was 5 years ago. It's much worse now. And in the era of COVID-19, it's even worse than that. But he made a comment when he wrote me back recently where he said, you know, he's trying to put out, you know, counter it with positivity. And I mean, yeah, it's easier said than done to do that. Just say, well, just counter negativity with positivity. And trust me, I agree with that. I think that's how you do counter some of the negativity. But can I tell you, even as someone who stays pretty positive all the time, when you get the kind of stuff that's being put out there and the kind of craziness and people that you've always trusted suddenly not being as trustworthy, it's disheartening. Like, even for the best of us that do try to stay uplifted. Not Your Average Keto Podcast. Yes, I've stopped following a podcast I loved because of the politics related to this pandemic. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand infusing politics into this. I mean, I get it. There's people that are using this pandemic as a political maneuvering move. And I think that's disgusting, by the way, regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, if you're on either aisle. I just think using something like this for the purposes of making one candidate look bad or another candidate look good, or it does no good in my eyes. And yeah, I know several of my friends in this space who, yeah, they've chosen to use their platform to promote their political position about this. And I get it. Share information. I get it. Provide your followers with an alternative perspective. That's what all of us have done in this health space. Is we always try to provide an alternative perspective from the mainstream narrative. I mean, think about the mainstream narrative on diet is low fat, healthy whole grains, exercise on the treadmill, da 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 da. And what are we talking about? Low carb, high fat, real food, strength training. It's like it runs counter to the narrative. So I'm okay with ideas that challenge what the narrative thinking is. What I'm not okay with is, well, you must believe this, and this is why they're doing it, and this is their motivation, and if you don't believe this, you're a dummy. And it's like that doesn't serve any good purpose. And you will never get that out of me, by the way. Several people have said, oh, all you do is COVID-19, and you're just so... I'm like, do you watch my Jimmy rants? Like, number one, I don't only do COVID-19 stuff, but number two, I am very objective. I throw information out there and I say, what do you guys think? Like literally that's what this show is all about. I present information and then I come to you and get feedback instantly. A lot of these other people putting out information, they're just spitting it at you and they're getting comments and they're getting flamed in the comments because of the way they present it. And then they either block, delete, or they challenge and have arguments with them. That doesn't serve any good purpose. And that's part of what we're talking about on this Jimmy Rants here today. Brittany says, pretending is what we're taught to do. Yeah, so that's why I didn't come online at 11 a.m. Brittany, you knew exactly why I didn't come on at 11 a.m. As soon as I didn't show up, you're like, oh, Jimmy must need kind of a little bit of a personal time. And you were right. And that's okay. I'm not going to push coming on here if I'm just not feeling it. So there's no obligation that I come on here. And plus, you guys know I'm hard enough working. I'll make it up later in the week if I miss one. So thus, that's why I'm here at 5 p.m. Eastern. Anger is not an emotion. It's a reaction. Many people have not learned how to properly emote, so they react in anger. Brittany, that is brilliant. And you're right. We can control how we respond to situations. The situation isn't the thing that makes you angry. The situation is what evokes an emotional response. And you can choose to let that emotion come out in the form of anger or in the form of some other emotion. This is something people don't understand. Well, so-and-so made me angry. No, they didn't. So-and-so evoked emotion within you that you felt like it needed to be manifested as anger. And that's what we're seeing in a lot of people right now with this stress over COVID-19 or just the stress in their lives. They have chronic anger issues because they haven't figured out how to manage those. Can I highly recommend that you see a life coach, that you see therapy? I know realfood.reallife. Brittany does a lot of life coaching here on social media, on Instagram, so go look her up. She does life coaching. See a therapist, see someone who can help you work through some of the head stuff that makes you react that way. I have a personal friend who every time something goes awry and stressful situations arise, they're a blubbering emotional mess. They go into a deep, dark pit in their mind and they just think the world is crashing in on them. And I always talk to them and go, can you catch yourself before you get there? I mean, like, can you just stop and breathe and then evaluate the situation and see if it's worth all of that emotional angst? And she's not alone. I mean, there's a lot of people that have those kinds of issues. And I wonder if the stress right now is causing people to have some of those things bubble up to the surface. And it's been there all along, but you've never addressed it. Can this be your wake-up call to finally address some of these issues that you know are happening in your head and in your heart? I got to tell you, one of the best things I did before I went on sabbatical, before I went on my 6-month sabbatical, was I hired a life coach. And this life coach is a licensed therapist. In fact, she checked in on me today. She's like, how you doing? And I was talking to her about things going on. But she was wonderful when all you know what broke loose in the midst of my sabbatical about the childhood trauma and some other issues that came up. And she gave me kind of ways to redirect the way I think about things. just really invaluable information. And some people say, well, I'm strong enough on my own, I don't need a therapist. Yeah, even the strongest of us need to have some of that help. And um, there's no downside to do with that. So don't be the hero. If you need help, get help. But it's not anger is not the answer. Fear is expressed as anger. Unknown is expressed as anger. Hurt and depression is expressed as anger. So, Brittany, are you trying to say that people are angry for a whole lot of reasons, aren't they? And you're right. That's why when someone is ugly and angry and hurtful towards me, I never make my first reaction, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Because I know I didn't do anything wrong. The first thing I say is, oh, I wonder what's going on in their life that makes them respond that way. Because fear will make you do some funky things. So you're right. Fear is anger, unknown anger, uncertainty, anger, hurt and depression, anger. It's all the same thing. Pink Puggy Pundit says, remember Live Leak from 20 years ago? That was the start of the internet truly getting ugly. 20 years ago. So that would have been 2000. I was online, but I don't remember Live Leak. What was that, something around Y2K? I'm trying to remember. That was a long time ago. My really hot and heavy. I was online in 93 for the very first time. I got the AOL CD and you've got mail. I'm showing my age now. But I got hot and heavy writing articles online somewhere around 2002, 2001, 2002. I started writing articles for a website, and then I lost my weight and started blogging about low carb, and that's how I took off. But yeah, it was ugly, 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 and very quickly got ugly. Dan the Bacon Man says, that's the part that gets me. People I have followed and trusted for a long time keep repeating craziness and conspiracy. And see, I've resisted that. Now, I've shared stuff that's on that outer fringes of what people are accepting as the mainstream narrative. I think it's okay to hear those ideas. Now, to advocate for them as if they're the gospel truth, that's where it crosses the line, Dan. And you're right, a lot of people are kind of doing that right now. It's unfortunate that they feel like they're needing to do this. And this friend that I was telling you about here on Instagram, I mean, they're taking things to a way, way extreme that even I'm going, ugh. I love them, but wow. Like I just can't. I can't stick around, and I guess when all this is over, I'll just have to unfollow and stop following, even though they've done wonderful work until now in the health space. This has shown a light on, oh my gosh, there's a side of them I didn't know existed. Are you guys noticing that too? That people that you never thought were a certain way, and now you're seeing them, whoa, like I didn't realize they had that in them. Brittany said, accepting a place of gray is my approach right now. Not really super positive, not super negative, sitting in observation most days. Yeah, I love your idea of being kind of in a neutral place. And that's okay. When you're neutral, you're not hurting, you're not great, but you're not hurting. And then you're working your way up to kind of that positive, uplifting place. Definitely love that perspective. Social media and media in general breaks will help a lot. Yes, Dan, I have found that as well. It does help to manage the stress. Absolutely. Stick to health and wellness. Exactly. A lot of these guys, I don't know if it's because they're in the health space and coronavirus is kind of a health-ish related issue. They feel the need to address it as if they're experts. Like when I address the COVID-19 and coronavirus stuff and I tie it to metabolic stuff, it's not because I'm saying I'm an infectious disease expert. I'm just saying, oh, look at this research, or look what this doctor is saying. It's to provide information. And even though we're under stress and even though people are a little more on edge, it doesn't mean you don't need information right now. And if it's presented in a positive way, in a non-conspiratorial way, in a calming voice way, then you can process it and really know what to do with it or not do with it. Like, you could hear some of this and go, all right, that sounds interesting, but I don't think it's relevant to the conversations that we're having. And that's your choice. At least at that point, you have the information and you can decide what it means. Brittany says, I'm so dang proud of you for recognizing your needs. Yes, I have certain friends in my life, Brittany, wink, who remind me that if I need to take some Jimmy time, I take Jimmy time, and I'm okay with that. I will always, always do that. Beth says, I try to remain neutral and observe. When I feel angry, it's just that. I feel anger, but I myself am so much more than being angry. And it's okay to have the emotions, but I think it's the manifestation of the emotions where people get out of control. If you manifest it in this state of just constant, you're either the Incredible Hulk or you enjoy being in a sympathetic state. Guys, I don't know about you, but I love being in a super chill state, because the last time I checked, when you constantly stay in that angry state and you constantly are pushing that sympathetic nervous system in your body, you're going to start to feel aches all over your body. You're not going to be able to digest food well. You're going to probably have to go have diarrhea. You're going to have chronic pain pop up. You're just going to have stuff happening in your body. This is why I don't allow that kind of stuff to get in me. And if I notice it in myself, I'll go do things that will relax me. I got plenty of little relaxation toys over there that I take full advantage of very early and very often, because I know myself. I know I need those things when I feel that coming on. It's okay to feel the emotion of anger. It's not okay to blast it out on social media, all of your problems, projecting it on other people. That's the thing too, guys. How many people, rather than taking a breath, think about that keto doctor for a second. He wrote to me and, oh, I heard you from a colleague that you said this and coronavirus isn't real and you should be ashamed of yourself, stay in your lane, blah, blah, blah. Had he just taken a breath, okay, I know Jimmy. There is no way possible he would do this. I don't believe it. Like, if he just thought that through, because we're longtime friends. I've known this doctor for many years. Longtime friends. And before he wrote to me and got me all up in a tizzy, all he had to do was take a breath, but he didn't. Can we just make that the lesson in this Jimmy Rants here today? That before you post something on social media, before you reach out to someone, before you react, pause, breathe, allow yourself to process a little bit. All right, are things what they appear to be? Because we live in the day and age where clickbait headlines get us all riled up. And do you notice that sometimes you'll see a headline and you immediately turn to anger or some other emotion that you feel manifest within you? That's by design, by the way. They want to evoke that. So you click on it and you read it and you get all upset and you get fearful and blah, blah, blah. Can we just read something or see something and go, okay, is that what I think it is or what? I would even say, like, see something like that, walk away from it for maybe an hour or two, and then come back and look at it again and see if you see it from the same perspective. Knee-jerk reactionism is going to be the death of all of us if we're not careful. And guys, I'm just as guilty of it. I'm not trying to tell you I figured that out, but I have figured out being self-aware about this enough to know that if I see something and it immediately evokes an emotional reaction, I don't believe that initial reaction. I'll back away from it, walk away, come back to it and go, all right, is that what I think it is? Is that a good practice, you think? Do you like that idea to not immediately respond? I think it does help out a lot. Brittany says, you're speaking my truth today. Girl, I have learned a lot of things from you in our talks, so thank you for all your wisdom. Kelly says, when I was watching the news every day, I was so scared and realized I was lashing out at people. So I stopped watching it every day and now I'm back to normal. Kelly, thank you for that. I suspected that was happening in a lot of people. It's why from day one of this coronavirus situation, I have not been one of those like news junkies who feels like I have to stay glued to the television set, glued to the internet with every new thing. I do have push notifications on my iPhone. And so when a new headline comes through, usually it's about the death toll. Usually it's about some politician that made some stupid comment and they're highlighting it. But I look at it and go, okay, that's interesting. But I don't usually open the article because I know it's going to lead me down the path that it did you, where you're in this intense fear mode and it does make you lash out. And it's stressful with this COVID-19 stuff. It's stressful. And so this is exposing a lot of these things that were underneath the surface there all along. It's just now manifesting because people are under intense stress. Kelly seconds my recommendation for therapy. It is amazing and saved my life, she says. Yeah, a lot of us have found it to be very helpful. And I'm not ashamed to tell you, I'll go see a life coach therapist. I think she's wonderful. Rachel Freeman is her name, by the way. You can look her up on Instagram, and she's awesome. And she's like into nutritional health as well. She's a nutritional therapist and lots of things. But yeah, she really knows her stuff, and she's good. Like she and I have a mutual respect for each other because she knows I think at a higher level than a lot of people. And so she goes there with me because she thinks at that same level. And so we have some really deep, really fast conversations. And I think that kind of sped up my progress of doing pretty well. So Beth says, there is power in saying I am angry. There's just so much power to realize I feel anger. The latter allows for room of what can I do? Yes. See, you're preaching it, Beth. And I know you've had your struggles, but wow, that's wisdom, what you just shared there. Martha says, ditto. We don't listen to the mainstream media. Any day I come to sources like yours. So thank you. Well, thank you. I try to be not just a source of information, a source of respite. You get a happy, positive guy on screen. You're never going to hear me chastise you or be angry at you. I do have righteous indignation sometimes, but I'm never angry, even though it's Jimmy Rants. I'm never angry on screen. I always try to be encouraging and uplifting and a positive voice and a calming voice in the midst of the craziness out there. So thank you for noticing that, Martha. I block and delete a lot of posts and replies after I take that breath. And that's okay, Jennifer. I think that's a smart, prudent move, is realize when things are triggering you. And sometimes I know when people are trying to bait me into one of those things. And if you try to bait me, that's the quickest way to get me to block, delete you. Here on YouTube, here on Facebook, here on Instagram. You try to bait me into a debate or bait me into responding to something ugly you said, yeah, Jimmy Moore doesn't play that game anymore. Victoria says, thank you for being you. Well, thank you. That's very sweet. All right, thank you, Instagram Live. Let's pop on over to my Facebook next, then we'll go to YouTube. All right, I need a little swig of water, so we're going to grab that real quick. That is good stuff. All right. Hey, guys, what's going on? See what you guys have to say about this topic here today. Jacqueline says, I'm glad you just took the morning off when you felt you needed to. I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, if I'm ever gone on a day, don't assume something bad happened to me. If I'm gone for like 3-4 days and you haven't seen anything on my social media, something happened. So one missed Jimmy Rants does not mean anything's wrong. But thank you for caring, Jacqueline. I saw where you posted on my Facebook wall about an hour ago. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I just need to take the morning off. Norma says, I looked to see if you posted on Instagram, which you had, so I knew you were alive. Being by yourself, you could go days and no one would know something was wrong. Well, I do have people that check in on me, and if I don't respond to those people, they would come and make sure I'm okay. All right. Dan says, I have to unplug from social media a whole lot more. The conspiracy theories are just something I don't handle well. Misinformation always bugs me. Well, it should bug all of us, because I think in this age when we're just trying to get information, when you throw in conspiracy theories, when you throw in things that are kind of a monkey wrench to that, it just jumbles the brain. And I don't know about you, but I like to keep my brain assimilated with the relevant information. And if I see things that are, yeah, off the beaten path, but are plausible, then I'm intrigued. If I see something that I go, there is no way possible, I can't believe that. Maybe it's true, but I don't want to believe it right now. I push that to the side. Now, that's just the way I process information. Others, they see things like that and they run with the conspiracy theory as if it's already fact. And that's what you'll never get from me. Dan says this is the worst mental health effect that I've ever seen. COVID-19 has seemingly brought this out in a lot of people. And I get it when you're quarantined, especially when quarantined with people in your family that maybe you don't want to be around 24/7. That has caused some issues. And there's some really sad things happening out there. I watched a video last night here on Facebook. Evander Holyfield had posted this on his page. Really sad video of this dad who was telling the story about his son dying of a COVID-19 death. And he's like, but it's not what you think. And he tells this kind of long drawn out story about how his son and daughter and wife were all, kind of quarantined and doing the best they can. The son got angry over some game that he was playing, and he threw the control and it broke the gaming system. And so the dad used it as a teaching opportunity to say, hey, look, son, you're going to have issues with anger. It's okay. Learn how to manage those. I'll tell you what, we'll get you a new system if you act nicer to your sister, if you do some things around the house, and da-da-da-da-da. So 2 months had passed, and all of these great things were happening. The boy was showing great signs of things getting better. And then the mom goes off to the market. The daughter's in her room. The dad had to take a business call for about a half an hour. And when he was off the business call, the little girl comes running up to her dad and said, my brother just hung himself. And so we don't know what's happening in the mental health of these people that are being quarantined. And a lot of people are in abusive relationships, either with an abusive spouse or just parents that are abusive towards their kids. There's just so many little situations like that. And these are kind of the things that it's bothering me, that these kind of things aren't being highlighted within the context of all this coverage of COVID-19. We all want to talk about the deaths and the cases of COVID-19. At this point, okay, great. We know people are getting it and we know people are dying. But what are some of these other things going on that are related to this anger issue thing I'm talking about here today? And this poor little 12-year-old boy felt like he had to kill himself. So we just never know what's going on with all the mental health of the people dealing with this right now. Kira says people are losing their minds, and it's not just you as a content creator. Yeah, I see it across the board. That people are indeed having, we need to come up with like a syndrome. Is this like lost my cotton picking mind syndrome? I mean, there's something going on, that's for sure. Judy said I had to quit Twitter. Absolutely, no way. I could not be on Twitter 24/7. That would just frustrate me. Norma says I've noticed that now the laws are becoming more lax as a lot of the meanness between what we should and shouldn't do. Yes. Abel says, yep, I'm getting extra cringy ad hominem hate across all my platforms. And Abel is a fellow podcaster. It's time we band together. The powers that be are doing their best to confuse and divide us. Keep on jamming, Jimmy. We got this. Yeah. And of course, I guess I'm a little bit more immune to it, Abel, than most people, because I've gotten intense hate for a very long time. I'm like, yeah, bruh, stand in line. There's a bunch of people that have given me hell over the years. And so I guess that has built up a toughness in me, a tougher skin than maybe some other people that aren't used to getting this. I'm sorry that you're getting that, but it is a shame people need to resort to that. But this is exposing that. Like, let's not pretend like this just suddenly started. This is like any chronic disease. It was there all along. Now it's manifesting as symptoms in the body. And now it's manifesting as this is how people are responding. Is this how people actually feel? In some ways, I think yes. In other ways, I go, no, they're kind of out of their mind right now. Not in the crazy sense, but in the this ain't normal, and so they're reacting in an abnormal way. It's very peaceful to hear your message. Thank you, Kira. I try to stay peaceful and offer a happy face and a positive attitude to all of this. You guys deserve that. And quite frankly, I want to come on here and be peaceful because I see enough of that ugliness on the daily that I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of the solution to that. All right, let's come over here to my YouTube page. Thank you guys for being here. Shirley says, this is definitely true for my husband. He has been overreacting when anything goes wrong. He stresses about a lot normally, but it's really showing during this time. Yeah, and it was there all along. Hannah says, I found that reflecting on what is going on both in the world and in my own head, making a game plan and reading, particularly the Bible, has helped me focus and reset my mindset and focus. You have a plan, my dear, and that is wonderful. I also like my little rituals, she said, to keep calm, like cooking healthy food, doing my morning coffee with the sunrise, my kettlebells and tire flips. They all help keep anxiety down. We need you to go on camera and show us like all these tricks, because there's people that could use your help right now, Hannah. The mental health aspect of the lockdown is very upsetting. We are made for community, our close friends and extended family. I feel for those suffering more than others over this. Yeah, as someone living alone, I can tell you I've had my moments. And especially as someone who is very much an introvert or extrovert, excuse me, and very much social, I thrive around people. Abel will tell you over here at conferences, I'm hugging everybody's neck. That's just how I am. It's who I am. It's a part of what people remember about me. Oh, I remember I went to Paleo FX in 2013 and you gave me the best hug ever, you know, and those kind of like touches with people where they remember you. That's what it's all about. I mean, I don't ever want to live a life that's forgettable. How many people go through their whole life and their whole life was freaking forgettable because they never really did anything to stand out? And I don't know about you, but I want to not just stand out for stand out purposes, but I want to touch people at a very deep level. So you remember me long after I'm gone. That's what I want my legacy to be, that you felt I offered something good in the world. Let's see, anybody else have comments here on Instagram? How many kg you have? What is kg? I'm trying to think, what would kg, how many kg you have? I don't know what that means, Sim. If you could translate into English, that would be great. Linda Lou responding to that story I shared, that was so sad. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, Evander Holyfield over on his Facebook page posted that video of the dad who talked about his son killing himself over this COVID-19 stress. Really sad video. Be prepared, because I shared it with a friend and I warned this friend that it might evoke an emotional response, and they didn't see the warning until after they watched it, and they called me on video bawling their eyes out, and I'm going, okay, I warned you. I warned you. Victoria says, I've got half of my family mad at me. We are so split on this. You have to be careful what you say. It's very sad. Well, I think in this day and age, Victoria, grace is what's needed now more than ever. Can you be graceful to the people in your life? And I get it. We're all under stress and we all have things. But if something is said, rather than having that reaction of anger, why not just assume that they meant for the best? Can you imagine, like, even after COVID-19's all gone, in our lives, if when things come at us that evoke some kind of an emotional reaction, like, and you react in anger or frustration or some other kind of thing like that, that is a negative thing, if you just said, you know what, I think I get where you're coming from. I really do. Oh, somebody on YouTube says kg is kilograms. How many kgs you have? It still doesn't make sense, the context of how many kgs do you have? Are you talking about like weights to lift? A kettlebell? What are you talking about, kgs? Linda Lou, we're used to going 100 miles a minute. Now there's no rush and some people can't handle it. Oh, you're talking to the king of 100 miles a minute. My brain never stops running. My brain never stops working 90 to nothing, trying to think of content. And I'm a go, 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 go kind of person. But I can tell you the sabbatical taught me go, 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 stop. Okay, I'm ready to go again. Go, 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 pause. All right, yeah, that feels good. Go, go, go to bed. And that's it. Like, I feel like I used to do that go, 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 and never paused, never stopped, never breathed. And it burned me out pretty bad. And I would be susceptible to being vulnerable to anger outbursts and vulnerable to not being the Jimmy you know. Not anymore. Not Your Average Keto Podcast says kg is weight. Yeah, the weight. Again, I get it means kilogram, but I don't know the context of what they meant by that comment. All right, so I see in the questions, this same person, Sim, tell us, are you low carb? Like literally, he just asked the living low carb man, are you low carb? I'm gonna go with yes. That's, you never know what you're gonna get on here. Jennifer says, I wonder what we've lost between now and say 70 years ago when people had to deal with the effects of the World War. Oh my gosh, like think about World War II especially. Like it seemed like the world was coming to an end. Hitler had taken over a lot of the world and the Japanese were bombing Pearl Harbor. It was just, yeah, it was a bad time 70 years ago. They were under some intense stress. I think life was simpler back then and there wasn't social media and less stresses. So I think family life held people together. Back then, family life was a lot more gentle and kind than it is today. I think family life today is so volatile because we're being pulled in so many different directions because of technological advances and things like that. Because it was such a simpler time with not as easy a ways to be distracted, I think they probably handled it a lot better, Jennifer. My friend Abel, Jimmy's one of the cuddliest and loveliest huggers I've ever hugged. He's also tall enough to make me look like a hobbit. Well, you are a little shorty, Abel. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, brother. I am 6'3", so I do hover over most people. Although I got to tell you, the first time I went to hug somebody taller than me was Diet Dr. Andreas Ehrenfeld. If you've never seen Andreas, he is 6'7", and he talks like this, almost like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so I go in for a hug of him, and I'm like in his chest. My face is in his chest. He's so tall. So, but most people have to kind of hunch over to give him a hug. Brits had to deal with rationing for years, and now people are complaining because they can't go shopping. Yeah. We are a spoiled bunch, that is for sure. So guys, what do you think about this? I mean, is this, am I onto something here? That this stress over COVID-19 has really exposed kind of a lot of emotional issues that people already had. It kind of puts a finer point on it that says, okay, figure out how to deal with your stuff and don't let the stresses of the world rub off on the rest of us. So if you're starting to see people acting in a very peculiar way, strange way, can I tell you our reaction to those people should be give them love, kindness, compassion, grace. I know that is so, so hard. Can I tell you, I have been the victim of a lot of ugliness over the years. Again, long before COVID-19, bashing on Jimmy Moore is a national pastime. So I'm used to that. But one of the lessons that I found and one of the best ways to kind of diffuse those situations is to just be kind and loving back and assume the best. Oh, Joanne, my friend Keto in Canada is here. We have to sit within our feelings because there's literally nothing to distract us from our own issues. Oh, Joanne. You are speaking my language, and it's so lovely to see you here. I have talked about you a little bit, Joanne. I remember the story you did recently where you were sitting at your work desk and your dog was barking in the background, the kids were screaming, you had work to do, and you were just like, ah! That was so wonderful. Not wonderful for you, but it was a good depiction of what a lot of people are dealing with right now. So thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for your comments. You're right. We have to sit with those feelings. There's nothing else to go with, nowhere else to go with them now. Like, think about all the things we would be doing to deal with some of our issues. We'd be doing all kind of activities for sports fans. You'd be going to sporting events, takes your mind off. Like, think about sports. It's gone right now, like completely gone here in America. That is a great distraction for so many people from their normal lives. Well, what happens when you don't get distracted? All that stuff that you needed distraction from, it's still there. And you got to deal with it. And people aren't dealing with it. Yeah, my one and only breakdown, Joanna. Yeah, I guess I happen to see it. Although I do follow your work, I'm a big fan of keto. Go follow Keto in Canada, you guys. Joanna does some really, really good work on her page, and I love how just open you are. I think the other post I saw recently was where your husband was eating popcorn and you didn't know why, and you guys were eating kind of off plan, at least momentarily. It wasn't constant, but it was just, I love what you're doing, so keep your work up. Go follow her, you guys. But the bottom line point here is people are stressed, and people are expressing that stress and reacting to that in very, very different ways. I think most of us are pretty much taking this in stride the best that we can, dealing the best that we can. But we have to give love and respect and grace to those people who aren't dealing very well. And it means you're going to see some cray-cray people in the keto and carnivore space saying some stupid stuff. Give them a little bit of grace, like this one person I was telling you about here on Instagram. It's like, I so bad want to reach out and go, I love you, but maybe tone it down a little bit, because we get where you're coming from, but you come across as a lunatic to people that don't know who you are. Yeah, it's disheartening to see that, because battle lines are drawn, and when all this is over, people are going to choose sides, and they're going to realize who was pretty chill through all that COVID-19 stuff, who was providing value in the midst of it and not raising my stress levels, who was giving me a sense of calm and positivity in the midst of that storm. And that's the people are going to gravitate to. And I know lots of people that are doing that right now that give me great encouragement in the midst of this. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, you can engage live in the content, but you got to go follow me over on Instagram. I am at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, you can engage live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, unless I decide to be a slacker like I did this morning. And then sometimes we do 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which is what we did here today on Jimmy Rants, and sometimes on the weekends as well. We also simulcast over on my Facebook page, so thank you guys for being here, and on YouTube Live. We just started doing that a little less than a week ago over on YouTube, doing live versions of this show. So thank you guys for being here today as well. If you missed the live here on Instagram, it's up there for 24 hours on replay. After 24 hours, it does disappear. Pop on over to JimmyRants.com, the official website for this show. We also throw all the past episodes up on YouTube. Type in the keyword Jimmy Rants, you will find the show. I have noticed I've lost a few subscribers on YouTube. I don't know if it's a part of what I talked about earlier in this Jimmy Rants, that people are like getting off of social media, but I went down like 50 followers, subscribers or something. So subscribe over at YouTube. And I would love that if you want to see all the past episodes there. So guys, that's it for now. Thanks for joining us today. I'll be back again real soon with another Jimmy Rants. Bye. Alrighty then. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. I'm showing you my musical background. All right, guys. Well, that was fun. Thank you for hanging out with me. I do love doing this show. But yeah, this morning I woke up, I was like, I ain't feeling it today. I'm just not going to go on the air at 11. So I immediately went on my stories on Instagram and said, no Jimmy Rants at 11 a.m. I'll see you at 5 p.m. And yeah, I had this whole story ready to go for 5 p.m. And then this issue that I talked about here today was just so much on my heart and mind. I'm like, I cannot not talk about this. Too much to say, which is why I have this show. Like when I first started Jimmy Rants, the reason it started was there would be studies that would come out, there would be headlines that would come out, and people would immediately start writing to me, what do you think about this? I need to hear your thoughts about this, da 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 da. And so I created Jimmy Rants as the outlet for sharing my thoughts about things that I see in headlines and studies that come out, especially the studies. When a bad study comes out, you can bet your sweet bippy I'm coming on Jimmy Rants that day to talk about the bad study. So yeah, that's why this show started. It was an outlet for me to share. And oh yeah, by the way, I don't know if you notice, I don't do any notes. Like most of these things that I read, and like today was just all off the top of my head, just how I feel. I don't do any notes, and that's by design. I don't want to come across as robotic. Like I've been in this space for a little while, and I know how to riff pretty well on pretty much any topic that I have knowledge about, which in the health space is most of the health topics. Now people want you to go deeper and get all sciencey and geeky. That's not my style. I can follow that because I've interviewed enough of the geeky people on my podcast, but that's not my style to say it in those words. There's plenty of people that go real geeky. I was listening to Dave Feldman and Ivor Cummins talk about some of these mechanisms as it relates to COVID-19, and they're both engineers and they both go real geeky real fast. And I can follow it to certain degrees, but that's not my style. My style is more, okay, what does that information mean to the average person, and how can I communicate that to the average person? So that's what I do here on Jimmy Rants. I hope you appreciate that effort. And a lot of you do, because you keep coming back here every single day. So thank you so much for your faithfulness. I think I saw a comment come in here on YouTube. As a healer, I am feeling a strange calm through all this, but as a nurturer, my heart aches for the lonely and the fearful. I got to tell you, Nurse Feelgood, thank you for that. And Shirley says, now you've got me singing. This is how we do it. I'm the same way. Like my heart is bleeding right now for those people that I know are having emotional health issues. Because quite frankly, I've been there. Like my recovery from childhood trauma, it was some dark days in the midst of that. And it was very, very difficult because you have to relive some of the most traumatic things in your life. But once you come out the other side of that, it gives you a new appreciation. Like, I don't think the 6-month sabbatical prior to all this was by accident for me personally. Like, I went through, and those of you that didn't know, I went on a sabbatical from September until the end of February, came back March the 1st, and then COVID-19 hit like 10 days later. But I was gone, and in 2 weeks into my sabbatical, I found out some things about my childhood that totally changed the narrative of everything I had believed. And so I went into a pretty big tailspin and trying to understand things that happened, reframe narratives that were in my head. It took me 3 months to come out of that. And then the last 3 months of my sabbatical was kind of a healing process and getting ready. And so that really, really prepared me personally for being more understanding and more caring about people and what they've gone through in their lives, and how it's affected them mentally. So I have a heart for the people that are struggling right now with the mental stuff, because I get it. So yeah, had this on my heart, had to share today. So thank you guys for being here today. Let me pop off of here on Facebook. We'll see you guys tomorrow. So thanks for joining us. Bye. All right. YouTube Live. Thank you for being here as well. See if there was any other comments that you made. No, you've got me singing. That was the last one. Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here as well. We will be back again. I hope you're enjoying all these YouTube lives that we're doing. We still put them up as a separate video in archive form, but I like to give you guys this bonus material where we stick around after the show and give you a little bit of extra. This is what you guys get for coming on these formats. I give you a little bit of bonus Jimmy Rants. So thanks for hanging out. We'll see you again soon. Bye.